Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to give you a short introduction to the latest Kali Linux 2020.1. Kali Linux 2020.1 release was actually January 28, just a few days back, and it has several new features like, for example, Nonroot by default. So this is the one, and then we have Kali single installer image. Then we have Kali Net Hunter rootless. Then improvement to theme and Kali undercover and some new tools. Now, so to understand about this, what the new Kali offers, let's start installation and look at some of the new features introduced by this latest Kali installation and what do you call this distro. Yep. So let's check. So here with me I have this Kali installer. So to download, you just need to go to the download Kali. What I did was I downloaded this one. This is the Kali Linux 64-bit installer. I downloaded through Torrent. It's much faster for me. Depending on you, if you have like a 64-bit computer operating system, you can choose 64-bit or perhaps 32-bit installer. So it depends on what you want to actually install. Yeah, if you just want to use the latest Kali for as a live CD, then you can just install or download this Kali Linux 64-bit live. Yeah, and there are some others like Kali Linux 32-bit live, Kali Linux 64-bit net installer, which means that you will need to download some of the files from the net. And the other one is Kali Linux 32-bit net installer. So the most common installer to be downloaded is this one because it has a complete, I would say, package of Kali Linux. The size is about 2 GB, while the net installer will give you very smaller size, but you need to have a good internet connection in order to actually download the remaining files. Okay, then you can also download Kali Linux 64-bit VMware and the rest of others, like, for example, Kali Linux 64-bit VirtualBox. Yeah. And you just need to go to the Offensive Security VM download page that will bring you to this page. Yeah, here. So we have several VMware ready images, VirtualBox, and Hyper-V image, right? Okay, so let's start the installation just to understand about the process of installing. Let me just close this. So when you boot up your PC or your virtual, I'm here running my VMware workstations version 15.5.1. Yeah. So when you all you need to do is you just go to the settings, create new virtual machine, and point your ISO image file to Kali. For example, this one, Kali Linux 2020.1 installer, AMD64. And when you boot up, let me just reset this. It will bring you to the same installer. So this is the Kali Linux installer menu. And you have several options like graphical install, advanced option, accessible dark contrast installer menu, help, and install with speech synthesis, right? Let's have a look at the advanced option. What other option they have? Like, okay, graphical expert install, rescue mode, we don't need this one. Automated install, speech enable. Okay, so for the beginner, we'll just need to select graphical install. This is the easiest way to actually install your Kali. Yeah. Press enter. It's going to take a while to do the installation. So let's have a look at the, okay, so the first option in this installation process is to select the language. By default, I'm selecting English. Click continue and select location. By default, I'm in Indonesia, so I just put Indonesia, or you don't have Indonesia, so I'll just put it as maybe like United States. Yeah, just for the meantime. And I will select American English for the keyboard. That's it. So it will detect and mount the installation media. Now, from my previous experience, it was about, perhaps it took about maybe 30 minutes to install the entire set of Kali Linux, provided that you have like the fast hard disk or SSD. I would personally recommend you to use the SSD, solid state disk, rather than installing it on your normal hard disk. Yeah. So now we're prompted with the configure network. So host name by default is Kali, just leave it like that. Domain name, I can put my, like for example, my domain.local. This is just part of the internet address. Just make it something unique, or make something unique just to differentiate your what do you call this, domain name. Now for the password, okay, set up user and password. See this one? A user account will be created for you to use instead of root account. So this is the one it was actually mentioning. The website mentioned that there's none root by default. Yeah. So throughout this tree of Kali, we always use root/tor for the credential, and by default this is actually the root credential. Okay, so let's put it something for our non-administrative activities. We'll be using something like, okay, Kali, full name Kali for the new user, and then okay, let me just go back. Full name Kali Linux, for example, or Kali user, just put it Kali. Okay, username Kali. Now choose the password, maybe simple password like Kali as well as Kali. For the re-enter the password, so I put Kali and Kali just to make it easier, and then I will select, let's say, Pacific time for the clock, and it will detect the disk. And by default, I will be using the, I configured this Kali to be installed on the disk, which has about 20 gigabyte of space. So I'll be using guided, use the entire disk. This is good for beginner, unless if you want to do something else like use the entire disk and set up the LVM for other options. Yeah, this is the encrypted LVM or normal volume what do you call this, related disk. Yeah, so for most of us will be using like a guided use entire disk, and then I will select this SDA, which is the first disk that was actually detected. And I'll select, okay, all files in one partition recommended for new users for the partitioning disk. And then let's just select finish partitioning and write changes to the disk. Click continue. And of course, you will need to select yes. This is just to make sure that you're selecting, you're sure about your selection. Select yes to continue partitioning the disk. It will take a while. So for normal installation, it's gonna take about perhaps 30 to 45 minutes or even 1 hour, depending on your hard disk speed and the memory allocated. Yeah. So initially, let me just review my settings. I set this to have the 2 gigabyte of memory, 1 processor, this size is about 20 gigabyte. This is actually quite okay for the initial installation. If you need to expand the disk capacity, you just need to go to the virtual machine settings and select expand disk capacity here, right? Okay, and then I put network adapter to NAT and ISO file pointing to my Kali Linux. Okay, the NAT here allows you to connect to the to share the host IP. That will also allows you to connect to the internet, right? Okay, so click cancel. So while it's doing the installation, yeah, let's okay. So here we are prompted with configure the package manager, so I don't need to use the proxy, we just leave it blank. It will configure package manager. And while waiting for the installation, let's scroll down to, so earlier we have Nonroot. It was it prompted us with creating new user, which is normally used for non-administrative what do you call this, tasks, and we no longer have the default root and tour. Yeah, so it says that root/tour is that long life Kali. Yeah, so you can actually create something like username Kali and password Kali. And single installer image means that you can actually just download one installer, and then you can actually select different what do you call this, desktop experience. Like for example, you will see the desktop experience like XFCE, Genome, KDE, etc. Yeah, so now you'll just need to install one, then you can select the desktop environment perhaps after the installation. Yeah, we have to find out how. Okay, and yeah, the file name is Kali Linux 2020.1, then installer, then it specifies whether it's an AMD 64-bit or 32-bit i386.iso. Okay, and here when you are installing, you will be prompted to select the software. For example, whether you want to install like XFCE desktop environment or generic, Genome, KDE, LXDE, or Mate, right? And they also have a live image, which is normally used to just boot up and then run Kali from it. And it has also ARM images, NetHunt images. Now the NetHunt images allows you to use the what do you call this, Kali Linux without having to what do you call this, do the rooting or jailbreaking. Yeah. And for the theming, we have light and dark theme. Yeah. So this is perhaps the dark theme, and this is the light theme. Yeah. And we have other tools. Yeah, so collection of tools will be, yeah, so we are giving the tool that you are very fond of makeover tool. We are slowly working through our collection, refreshing them, adding new icons. Yeah, so we will see our familiar icons for the tools and also the menu. Eagle-eyed user may have also noticed the icon used in menu have also been replaced. So you'll see the icon as you can see here, and here we have the icon as well. Yeah. And for the setup, you can use the graphical installer or perhaps the older version, yeah, before and after shots. Yeah. And it was actually introduced in Kali 2019.4. We are now having the Kali Undercover, which allows you to actually switch to Windows-like desktop environment, so that you can actually hide what you're actually doing. It's pretty nice when we are working in a public environment, yeah, such as restaurant or maybe like a McDonald's or Starbucks, so that the people will not be really aware what you're actually doing. Yeah, and some new packages added like Cloud Anium, Email Harvester, PHP, GGC, Sherlock, and Splinter. And according to this information, that Python 2 end of life, meaning that Kali no longer use Python version 2. Yeah, so end of life is 1st of January. So most likely, this Kali Linux 2020.1 is actually using Python version 3. Yeah, let's get back to our installation. Okay, select and install software. Let's continue. Okay. Few seconds remaining. Okay, let's get back. Of course, for downloading, you can just download from this website, kali.org, and then you can download the fast images, download, and then quickly install. Or if you're currently running like Kali 2019.3 or .4, you can easily upgrade this by running several commands here. Okay. And just to verify, when you type grep version /etc/os-release, you should see version 2020, version ID, and version code name, which is Kali rolling. Okay, what's this? Let me go back and okay, so I think I need to fix the problem. I'll get back to you when I have fixed the problems. It's gonna take a while to troubleshoot this. Okay, so let me pause the video for a while, and I'll get back to you on solving on how to actually solve this problem. Just give me a minute. Okay. Okay, now I know the problem. When we were talking earlier, or when I was talking to explain things from the website, I was not actually able to select this. Now when I click continue, I'm actually having this in front of me, and I will need to select software selection. So at the moment, only core of the system is installed, the tune of the system. So to tune the system to your needs, you can choose to install one or more of the following predefined collection of software. So for example, Kali Linux Desktop. Yeah, so you can just select all, so that I can easily, choose my desktop environment. I can also select light-based system with no pen testing tool, or maybe top 10 popular tools, or default. Yeah, so let's just set default or select default recommended tools available in live system. Excuse me. And then I think that's all. Okay, so I'll be selecting all. Okay, then select continue. So this is where you can select any of the available desktop environment. Yeah, the DE, and I'll be selecting default or the tools. Select continue. Okay, so while waiting for the installation, let's get back to our Kali release. So this is the Kali NetHunter installed on Android phone, I believe. Yeah, and this is the also the same thing, Kali NetHunter desktop experience. Yeah. And to download, let's get back to the download. So for those who would like to actually use the ready-made VM, I would suggest that you go to the Offensive Security VM download page, where you can actually download images from images of Kali Linux VMware, 64-bit 2.1 gigabyte, 32-bit about 1.8 gigabyte, and they also have this VirtualBox 32-bit 2.8 and 64-bit 3.1 gigabyte. And if you're running, let's say, Hyper-V, which is actually Microsoft product by default installed on Windows 10 and Windows Server, then you can just download Kali Linux Hyper-V 64-bit edition, which has the size, pretty big size, which is about 3.5 gigabyte. Those images are very nice because you just need to load the image from your VirtualBox, VMware workstation, VMware server, as well as Hyper-V. They are ready-made image. You don't need to install or reinstall anything unless you have any problem. Then you can reinstall everything, right? So I'm actually creating a fresh installation by downloading the fresh version of Kali Linux, which I downloaded from, let me see, this one. So this is the one I use. I downloaded using Torrent. Why Torrent? Because it allows you to slowly download the image bit by bit. And if you have if you don't have enough, or I would say a good bandwidth or a speed in your or at home, where you have the maybe IndiHome or MyRepublic or any other what do you call this, internet connection or internet service provider, I would recommend you to use Torrent. I believe that there is no other option, because in order to download with Torrent, you will need to use the Torrent client. I would recommend you to use this Utorrent or Utorrent. So you can use this Utorrent. .com. You can also use the I am actually using this let me see, Utorrent, if I'm not mistaken. QB Torrent. I'm using this one, the QB. So this is my favorite. So it's a very small torrent to download torrent images or torrent file. You can use this Utorrent. It allows you to also get the free version of the Utorrent web. Okay, so the smallest torrent is this one, the Utorrent, which you can actually download from this website. So you can select the desktop edition of the torrent and then download for Windows. It's free, as well as this one. So make sure that you have this installed on your system. Then all you need to do is you go to this one and click the torrent, and then double click the downloaded torrent, and it will automatically launch your Kali. So to download or downloading Kali installer. Okay, so just like what I have. So this is my QBitTorrent version 4.2.1. And of course I can start and stop my torrent download so that I can download during the off-peak period. So let me just delete because I've already downloaded everything. So to delete, just press Shift delete and it'll delete everything and exit from the torrent. Okay, so let me pause the video for a while. because the installation will take quite long, about perhaps 1 hour. Let's see. So I'll get back to you when the installation is done, and we'll talk about the features after that. All right, so hang on for a while. Okay, let's continue our installation. Earlier I got an error message, and what I did was changing the options. Yeah, so I did change some options. Let's get back to this one. So I did select the default settings here. So let me show you. So I did select just this one, and this one, and this one. Yeah. So I did not select this, and this, because it took very long time to actually install it. Yeah, or even Kali Linux installer was trying to actually download some of the required files, so I canceled the installation of the other Kali Linux desktop environments. So I used the original XFCE desktop environment. We'll deal with that later. Yeah, so we can actually check how to actually install a desktop environment on Kali. Yeah. So you can just check the installation setup. Yeah, let's just check. What if I want to install the other desktop environments once I have installed my Kali Linux? Yeah. Okay, so I use the default installation. So by default, my desktop environment will be the XFCE, and I'll be installing the grub for the bootloader. Yeah. Yes. And select dev s/sda, the first disk. And finishing. It's gonna take a while. While waiting, so if I want to install, for example, KDE desktop, once I'm done with my installations, I will be installing manually using apt-get install Kali default, Kali root login desktop base KDE plasma desktop. Yeah, so something like that. Yeah. So we're done. So finish the installation complete, continue, and reboot. Okay, so let's look at the advanced option before we click Kali Linux in the first menu or in the first option. Same thing, just go back and then start. Yeah, so this is your Kali 2020.1, and by default just need to log on using Kali. As I've already mentioned that we have Nonroot by default here, and Kali, and reboot. Let's go to normal Kali, and if we have successfully installed this without any option, let's Kali and Kali. Let's see, why is it actually not giving me the GUI. Let's check this one for a while. Hold on a minute. Okay, so earlier I have a problem after I have successfully installed the this Kali Linux 2020.1. I was not able to actually get the GUI, graphical user interface, although I have selected the correct settings or the correct options. So I decided to actually go to the download page of this Kali Linux, and move to the offensive security VM download page. Then I downloaded this Kali Linux VMware 64-bit torrent. After successfully downloading the torrent, I extracted the image, and here we go. So this is actually the ready-made VM image of 64-bit image for Kali. Of course, you can select the 32-bit image. So I would personally suggest that you downloaded this Kali Linux VMware images or Kali Linux VirtualBox images if you have a similar problem as what I have experienced earlier. This will actually help you on speeding up or ensuring that you can actually run your Kali Linux 2020.1 easily, yeah, without having to troubleshoot the installation problem. So let's get back to this one. So this is your Kali Linux 2020.1, and I was able to actually download and install this earlier, and I also manually installed Genome by looking at this one. I mean the notes here. I did the apt get update and apt get full upgrade -y. I did the apt get install -f to force the GDM3. Did the reboot, and then after that I did the apt get install Genome. Yeah. So with that, I was able to let me show you something. You can actually log out, and if you have successfully installed different desktop environment like this one, you could actually log on as Kali. As I already mentioned, that Kali is not the privileged account, which means that it is just a normal user account without any super user power. Yeah. So before you do the sign in, you can actually select the option here by selecting, for example, I would like to log on using XFCE session, just by typing Kali. This will bring me to this XFCE what do you call this, desktop environment. Or you can, if you like Genome like me, I prefer to use this, and before I do the sign in, I will select Genome and log in using Kali. The password is Kali, and here we go. This is your Genome of your Kali 2020.1. Yeah, so you can see that we have several applications, and we have others here, yeah, with the icons. And yeah, so for example, I can just click on the G terminal, a Q terminal, and then show you that let's say, where am I? And of course, you can always do the testing by typing uname -a or -a. This is Kali Linux 2020.01, and let's check if they mentioned that they have new tools such as, let me see, yeah, let me just check. They got this Cloud Anium. Let's see. Oh, I don't think they have it. And then email harvester. I don't think they have it. Okay, let me just log off and log on using my other desktop. So here, XFCE session, and check whether they have the let's say email harvester. Oops. Yeah, I don't think they have it. Hmm. Yeah, it says that the tools are added, but I haven't seen any. Sherlock, let me see. We can get Sherlock running. Oh, no. Let me see. From the list of the tools, we got like Sherlock. No. How about this Cloud Enu? Or maybe we have to install it manually. Yeah. Yep. I, looks like you can actually do the manual installation, but it was actually refused. Anyway, we can do this later on. Yeah. So this is my Kali. So I can also try to log on using different environment. Okay, let's say system default. Yep. And you can try to restart and see if it actually allows you to look at the default desktop environment. But still, okay, so this is the default settings because I've already installed your or our Genome. Let's try, we can actually install how to install, let's say, or XFCE in Kali Linux. So, so you can actually install the XFCE 4 and others. Yeah. So you can use this one, sudo apt something something. Let's try. It's actually already installed, but what I want is to make sure that you can actually log on using the XFCE. Let's try to copy this, and I believe that we can also change this by setting up this right here. Let's copy this. So the XFCE, so start 4. Yeah, this is to start our XFCE. Or maybe not. Let's restart. Let's see. My objective is actually to change the login with the other login type. Let's see. How can we actually change this? Let me check. So this is how we can reset wait, how to restore XFCE login. Okay. So we can try this one. Run apt-get in a terminal. Let's just copy this and paste it. All right, let me settle this problem first and I'll get back to you soonest. Okay, I found the solution. So the next thing to do, you don't need to do this because the XFCE desktop is already installed. Next is just to run this update alternative -- config X session manager. Copy this and put it into our terminal, and notice that selection 01 0 start XFCE4 is auto. Yeah, so press enter to keep the current choice or type the selection. Okay, so for example, let me see, 0. Yeah, just leave it like that. Let's just reboot or exit. Let's log out. Oops, still there. Let's try again. So let's try number 2. It is the sudo auto mode is 0. Just leave it like that, or maybe you can just try 2 and reboot. Still not working. Okay, anyway, we'll check later. So after struggling for about few hours, I think I screw up my Kali Linux, but I was able to find several things that is quite interesting. That I checked this website, guest.github.com. I found out that you can actually install a lot of different desktop XFCE, KDE, and then LXDE, Genome, and so on. Okay. Also, Cinnamon Desktop. I did some installation for most of the desktop environment just to see how it actually looks like in Kali, and even in Kali general documentation they mention about this, as I've already shown you earlier, that if you want to install Kali desktop XFCE, then you can just install it by running apt update, then apt install Kali desktop, as well as installing, let's say, this Genome, right? And then if you want to change the alternative for the session manager, all you need to do is run this one. Let me repeat this. So here is my Kali. I'm not sure how did I get into this Kali, but anyway, it's good to have experience on changing a lot of different things in Kali. Yeah. So let me just run this. Let me resize the font to, let's see, maybe 12, and run the command. This will allow you to change. By default, I'm using XFCE 4 session, and I can of course change this to something like start KDE or Genome session. Yeah. So if I want to set this to, let's say, current choice, which is the XFCE, or maybe 4 with the start KDE, sorry, 4 USR bin start XFCE 4, I'll just put 4, and yeah, so selection is 4, and then if you want to change the I was trying to find how to change the login screen. It's actually just by running this sudo dpkg reconfigure, and then you can specify that if you want to use this, let's say, light DM, or maybe like GDM3. This is what you need to do. Yeah. So this is where you change the display manager for the graphical login, and by default I'm using GDM3. Then I will change to, let's say, light DM, and then I'll just do the reboots and see what happened next. Okay, just wait for a while. And you should see the light DM. Yeah, this is the correct one. So login as Kali and Kali again. Okay, so the default setting is still Genome. I need to change this to something else. Let's copy this. Oh, sorry. I think I'll just need to go to Kali logout. Let me see. Okay, Kali. And let's look at the session. We can change the session to our new X session manager. Sudo this one. And let me change to 5. Repeat. Okay, and press enter. Reboot. Sorry. The objective is to change back to the XFCE desktop. Kali. I think I need to change the login screen again so that I can choose the, yeah, see, still Genome. So let's do sudo pkg reconfigure. So choose the GDM3 and yeah, the session reboot. Okay, let's look at the login screen. So back to the original login screen on my Genome Kali. And this is where you can actually select the session. Yeah, so the original session was actually, or desktop was set to Genome. So I'll select this XFCE sessions and login. Yeah, this is the correct one. This is my desktop. XFCE desktops. Then I'll change the login screen to light DM. Yeah, so that I will see the original Kali or original or default setup, default desktop on Kali. Yeah. So two things you need to do. First, change the login screen or display manager. Then after that, change the login screen. Sorry, the desktop. Yeah. So this is the default Kali login screen. And let's see if we got genome or oh, we still have the genome. Why is it? Hmm. Let me see. Maybe it's because of this. Change this and change to start XFCE 4. Yeah. So a bit tough to actually change this. But anyway, I haven't really got too much time to actually play around with the desktop environment as well as display manager or login. Let's log in again and see if we got the correct. Ah, this is what I hate. Okay, so hmm, what should I do? Oh, hmm. Let's reconfigure. Okay. To be frank with you, I still prefer the GDM display manager because you can actually change to any session you like. So for example, default X11 session and Kali. So this system and Kali. See, we can actually get yep, this is the correct one. So it's just about the login screen. Here you can also change the settings. Yeah, like this one. Yeah, and almost the same. Yeah. So we got the menu. Yeah, and let's see, the default setting was set to system at default. Okay, so system X. And what if we change the login screen or display manager by typing sudo dpkg reconfigure uh, let's say white DM and change white DM reboot. So we learned a lot from for me myself. I learned a lot in terms of changing, the configuration, the environment. So uh, don't feel what do you call this, tired, or perhaps don't give up on trying something trying on something until you really get what you want. Yeah. Yeah. It brings me back to the genome. Yeah. So let me just repeat one more time. Or maybe we can use a different logon screen. Yeah. So like for example, this SDDM maybe. Yeah. Uh-huh. It's a bit different. Yeah. So this is a different menu. I mean, different desktop environment. So let me just reboot. Hmm. Yeah. Anyway, it's almost a change. It's almost the same. I'm not sure what you want, but for me, I'm okay with that particular GDM. So that's for my options. To be frank with you, I prefer to have the Genome as my desktop environment. Maybe you have different, what do you call this, option or preference, then it's up to you. All right, that's all for this time. Uh, See you next time for another session. Thank you.